Hello everyone and welcome back. I want to thank you so much for supporting the last video I post, which going crazy better than any another views because I give you all details that you need to know about Kaspa and all the important updates that you need to know how to buy and when to buy. And what I said before about the price prediction and the movements, it happened. This going down, this like downtrending, I said that to you before, and I said to you from where exactly it will be so bullish to accumulate a lot and what is makes sense on the chart and when you must buy and so on. But before we go for that, we can see something more important. We can see like more description in details from the core team Kaspa itself. So it will be a long video. I need you to hear everything. If you are an investor in Kaspa, you need to know exactly what you are investing in. And I want you to give me your opinion about this video. So I will leave you with this video to hear everything, see everything, and I need your opinion. And in next video, we will discuss a lot of details about the price prediction updates and the places that you need to put your orders to buy this coin.
Nice to meet you, everyone. I'm Shai. I'm one of the original contributors of Kaspa. I've been involved since around 2017. I've known Yoni since before we started the company. We met in university, and I've been a part of this crazy journey ever since, in different capacities. Currently, when people ask me what my job is, I tell them that I am unemployed. And because I'm unemployed, I can do whatever I want. So essentially, when things just started, I wanted all the guys who can code to code. So I took upon myself to do all of the stuff that could have distracted them from coding. And things roll from there. So right now, I don't know what I do, but I think I do it well. Before I get into talking about Kaspa, there is one story that just came spontaneously to mind. If you look at me, you will see that my appearance is not completely coherent with this forum. I was always very comfortable in my long hair and my bushy beard and my slacks. And whenever a video of me goes on YouTube or of an interview or a speech or a lecture or whatever, there is this one guy that is consistently coming to the contents and writing, here is this guy again, which looks like a homeless person. Nobody will ever take you seriously. And now I'm standing here in front of this distinguished forum, and I feel like some people do take me seriously. But this is not just a personal story about myself. It's kind of emblematic to the approach of Kaspa in general, because ever since we started, people constantly tell us, you're doing it wrong. You need a budget. You need a team. You need marketing. You need to do this like this, and you need to do it like that. Nobody will care about you until you are listed. Nobody will care about you if you don't have meme coins. You have to start with the smart contract, da-da-da-da-da. Everybody knows better. But we kept doing what we thought is the best way to do it. And we kept believing that if we will build it, they will come. And we keep going on the same trajectory of proving everyone wrong again and again, because ingenuity is not something that serves itself, right? You want to be genuine. You want to invent and innovate to pave the way for the thing that you wanted to do originally. You want to be true to your ideas. And I think this is the thing about Kaspa and about crypto as a whole, which is what we're trying to bring here. We're trying to take our ideas and our ideals and the way we think things should be done and find the new ways to do them without compromising them and without flexing away from them. And I think because we were so stubborn about all of this stuff, because Michael wouldn't tell people when we're going to see a fork, because Yoni wouldn't launch before we have proofs, even if it means running through a runway, and because I wouldn't get a haircut, I think maybe we are where we are today. So it's so exciting to see how the Kaspa meets the enterprise finally, because we are building it, and then you guys are coming, which is incredible. But ideals are not everything, and one of the things I do want you to take with you is that we actually have built a remarkable, groundbreaking, kick-ass technology. And this is what I want to convince you very quickly in this lecture. I'm not going to talk at all about how it works, because if you want to do this, you would have to buy my book. I just want to tell you a bit about what it achieves. So why should you care about Kaspa? OK, so Kaspa is the best proof of work. Why Kaspa is the best proof of work? To answer this, let's look at traditional chains and some of their problems. They are slow. They have low throughput. They tend to centralize mining quite a lot. They have problems of miner extracted value. I will say a word about it if you are not sure what that is. They have problems that they constantly require more and more storage. And I think one of the worst problems is that they have very, very bad fee markets. So essentially, it's not very clear how the security is going to be funded in the long run. So at this point, some people would raise their hand and say, OK, this is just proof of work. What about proof of stake? So yeah, proof of stake maybe can alleviate some of these problems, but I think at the cost of giving up on a lot of the benefits that we gain from proof of work, which is what we sought after in crypto to begin with. So they give an indefinite advantage. If in proof of stake someone has like this cut of the coin that gives them this disproportionate control over the network, they can retain it indefinitely, virtually for free. Where in proof of work, if you have 90% of the voting power, you would have to pay so much money in electricity, in operation costs, in buying and procuring new hardware just to keep your advantage. It's not taken for granted. It's much worse, actually, because there is a rich get richer dynamic, because people who stake get money for staking. And the richer you are, the more money you have to stake, the greater fraction you have at each round. You just become more and more rich. And at the top of all, if you want to participate in the network and you want to be a validator, then in most, or if not all, high-performant proof of stake, you would need very expensive machines. So it's not a game for everybody. It becomes back an enterprise game that benefits the rich over the poor. And I mean, it has its own benefits, but it seems to have strayed away from what we were seeking out to do, or at least some of the people. So going back to proof of work, I want to convince you that Kaspa manages essentially to enjoy what I sometimes call the whole enchilada. We get all of the benefits together in a single technology, and it's thanks to being aware in advance to all of the things we're trying to achieve and trying to find a way to escape simultaneously of all of these pitfalls to the best of our ability. And I like to attribute the ability to do this to Yoni's broad vision of the market. I'm not saying he has all the questions, but he definitely has all the answers. Sorry, I spoiled my own. I'm not saying he has all the answers, but he's the guy who had all the questions. I think one of the things that made us able to do this is that there was this one guy who knew what the needs are and what are all of the things that should be addressed before we can say we have solved it. And now I just want to go and give a quick rundown of the things we've solved and some numbers for those who like things that are more quantifiable. So at the heart of Kaspa, there is the Ghost DAG protocol. You've heard that it allows parallel blocks and block DAGs, and you have seen all of the pretty diagrams and got dizzy watching the graph inspector. But the bottom line, regardless of what happens under the hood, is that the only limit to throughput is hardware requirements. So we can say we want our technology to be able to run on hardware that costs at most X dollars, and then do whatever we can to achieve the most throughput that can be squeezed out of this hardware. Now, how do we actually squeeze it out? This is a matter of having a very efficient implementation and very talented developers that are managed to create a very efficient implementations. And this is what Michael is going to talk all about in his talk.
How do you know?
How do I know? Because I told him to. But I can only tell you that on $100 hardware, we've managed on the mainnet very, very easily. We see 300 transactions per second, 1 block per second. And on the testnet that we've been running for 9 months now, nonstop, we see 3,000 transactions per second where the nodes in the network, again, they run on old laptops, old cell phones, Raspberry Pis. Compare it to a $15,000 Solana validator, and you see that there is a very fundamental difference between the division of labor in both technologies, which is very much in favor of proof of work and the way we do proof of work. Now, Crescendo is the upcoming hard fork when we are going to take all the miracles of testnet and bring them to mainnet. I just wanted to say that it's in a very, very developed stage. Most of the utilities and the testing are already there. We have managed to do it very, very stably. We need to add in a few more things, do a feature freeze, a few more rounds in testing, but at the level of proving that it's possible, we are completely beyond that, and now it's only a matter of doing the remaining work. We are beyond convinced that it's going to happen. It's just taking the time to do it properly like we always do. Now about speed. Speed and throughput are not the same. Essentially, throughput is how many transactions you can process in a day, and speed is how long it takes the transaction to process, how long before you said this transaction has gone through. Because I can have a system where I have 5 transactions per day, but each transaction confirms in a millisecond. I have a system that I have 1 trillion transactions per day, but it takes an hour. So those are 2 orthogonal properties. And GhostDAG has a unique property that the time it takes to confirm a transaction is also only dominated by the network latency. Actually, it's dominated by a bound network latency. It's a bit of a technical thing. You need to assume in advance. You can't adapt, but the DAGNight protocol will also be able to do that. And if it does manage to do that, it's going to be actually more reactive than all currently existing proof of stakes, and we conjecture than all possible proof of stakes, but that's just a conjecture. And yes, so up to this protocol, people thought this is like a privilege of POS, and Kaspa then came and showed, no, we figure out how to do this in proof of work, and it works. Yeah. Another nice property of Kaspa is that the mining is very decentralized. People think of mining as a centralized game. People say that mining and proof of work is an economy of scale, and they are correct that it is an economy of scale, but the scale goes by a factor that is inversely proportional to the amount of daily blocks. If we create 6,000 blocks more than Bitcoin, then the entry barrier for a miner is 6,000 times smaller. And Bitcoin, you see 144 blocks a day. It means that the network can only accommodate up to 144 miners that see their revenue daily. In 10 BPS, we see 864,000 blocks a day. So it means the network can accommodate a lot more small miners. And we now, after being running for so long and after ASIC started to exist and the Kaspa ASIC market being a real multi-million-dollar industry, we can talk to retailers and tell us, look, there is something unique here. In any other tech that we create ASICs for, whenever a new a new generation of ASIC comes out, it's bigger, it's more expensive, but it gives you better hash rate on the dollar, so people will go and buy it. In Kaspa, the small home miners are still the top selling. Even though they don't give you the same value per money, people who only have like $500 for mining, they can put 15,000 bucks, they are still competitive, they are still in the game, they still want to be a part, and this is why the small miners are still the best sellers, even though they are not the most lucrative ones and the most efficient ones for enterprise. So this tells us a lot. It tells us that Kaspa puts the home miner back in the market thanks to its very high blocks per second, and we see it in the retail today on 1 BPS. We are going to scale this times 10, hopefully soon. And this effect is going to be more lasting and stronger. And just a small bonus is that if you have a lot of blocks, then you also have less variance. Like if you see a block a day on Bitcoin, then sometimes it will take 3 days, and sometimes you'll see 3 blocks a day. But when you have a higher block rate, then this variance goes away, so it even gives you more security as a miner in your income and makes it even safer for the small guy. Now, another problem I've said that people are concerned with, especially with high throughput systems like Kaspa, is that the more and more lifetime the network has, the more transactions you process, then the higher the storage requirements become. But using previously existing technologies and our own innovations and adaptations, which was, by the way, very hard, one of the hardest things we had to do. It requires the brain power of all of us, and it took, I think, more than a year to come up with the correct way to do it. And we've managed to find a way to prune most of the data such that you don't need the data anywhere for the network to be secure. Sure, there are reasons to store the data for other users, and for block explorers, for history, but the security of the network does not require it. So the nodes can just run with this pruned data while retaining the Bitcoin-like security. Indeed, we see that in the testnet, it's been running for 9 months. It's processed 250 million blocks at this point, full blocks, and still the storage requirements do not go above like 150 gigabytes. It's 3 Blu-ray DVDs. Yeah. And if you do need to prove that a transaction happened a long, long time ago, there are mechanisms to save cryptographic receipts, very small file, very small file that you could use to prove indefinitely that the transaction was accepted. There are very nice solutions to verify data retroactively that do not require this crazy requirement that all nodes in the network keep all of history forever. We've done away with this. And this is the bullet I was aiming for before. Full load, 3,000 transactions per second, 3 Blu-rays. Yeah. Another thing that Kaspa improves is the fee markets. The fee markets are very important because essentially the fees are what's supposed to fund the security of the network. You know, we have block rewards, but block rewards are a crutch. They are there for 2 reasons. 1, to spread the coin when it's just created, and 2, to incentivize miners to participate before there is any active market that they could benefit from. But it's just supposed to be like this bootstrap. It's not a long-term solution. And you see all these coins that have emission schedules that run into the 2200s. And to me, they say, well, we leave this problem to our grandchildren if humanity survives. And we would like to see the coin adopted in our lifetime. But we need, for this, the fee market has to be solved. We need to find better ways to do it. So what are the problems with the fee market? Essentially, I think there are two problems that make the whole thing not work. One is these lose-lose dynamics. In Bitcoin, either the network is completely congested and becomes unusable and fees skyrocket, or it is not congested and then there is no reason to pay fee, and there is a race to the bottom. It's a very bad dichotomy, a very bad dynamic, and it causes starvation. If currently the minimum fee to go into a block is like $1 and you pay half $1, you would stay starved forever, or at least until the fees drops. In Kaspa, the fee market works completely differently. Due to the parallelism, miners have to do some sort of random selection. It's not uniformly random. Paying more fees gives you a better priority, but still, it's not like the miner goes and takes all of the top paying fees, because then they would have a lot of collisions and it would actually reduce their profit. So the rational profit maximizing miner is incentivized. The equilibrium, the strategy that gives him the most profit is actually to introduce some randomness. And this smooths things out. It means that fees become active as soon as there is a reason to apply this random selection rule, and this happens at a fraction of the total throughput of the network. And it means there's no starvation. If a block can contain, 300 transactions, and your transaction, the P is like, there are 1,000 transactions that pay more fees than yours all the time, because you want to pay a little fee, you will still get picked up at some point by the power of randomness. And the consequence is essentially that the fee that you pay much better represents the quality of service that you want to get, instead of being in this constant bidding war for the right to not be censored. Another problem is the problem of miner extracted values. And I have to ask, does anyone in the crowd know or not know? Who here doesn't know what about the problem of MEV? Very good. So almost all of you do. And essentially the problem that miners have this broader view of what's going on in the market, so they could use it to gain value by seeing how complex transactions in smart contracts affect other markets. They could use it to gain a lot of advantage over users. And this is a problem. And what's nice in Kaspa that because there is all this high parallelism, miners don't have all of the information all the time. They can't know who are going to be all the blocks in parallel to their block. And we can use this. This is what Yoni has been researching in Harvard, in the MEV group. We can use it to build a bidding system for including transactions. Miners pay users for the privilege to include their transactions, and the consequence is that there is some sort of equilibrium where the miner and the user share the extracted value, as should be, because you can't say we won't allow MEV, because MEV is going to happen anyway. Wherever there is a value, people will find a way to extract it. But this way, the miner and the user, instead of fighting over it, they cooperate. And this is, as far as I know, the first game theoretic solution to miner extracted value, which is a very, very nice fit. You should be clapping to Yoni, but he's not here. Yeah. And under design, so I was told this slide is not very accurate. Sparkle is one layer above this. But essentially, the idea is you can create smart contract architecture which could work off-chain, could work on-chain, but it would do its sequencing on-chain. Even if you don't know the technical meaning of this, the consequence, the implication, is that it would be the first MEV-resistant smart contract architecture. Now think at this day, how much value there is in the ability to come out and say, and honestly, genuinely say, I'm going to build the first DEX that is MEV resistant. It's a holy grail. And with this architecture, it will happen. So this, I've run through all of the list of all problems I listed at the start and how Kaspa addresses them. But I do want to point out quickly some other benefits. One is the fair lunch model. Kaspa was not pre-mined, and there were no pre-allocations. All of the coin that was that went to the investors and the developers, it was mined in fair terms, competitively, against all of the other miners in the community. We used an altered hash, and the purpose of that was to make sure that nobody has any unfair advantage in the form of like closed software or FPGA boards or even ASICs or hardware that we do not know about. We went with a rapid emission schedule to make sure that by the time ASICs hit the retail market, most of the coin will be in circulation, because we want most of the coin to be mined by GPU miners, because GPU miners have a lot of, I forgot the word. They need to spend a lot of money, okay?
OPEX?
OPEX, yeah, okay. They have a lot of costs. That's the word. I was blanking out on the word costs. Yeah, so they have a lot of costs. They need to spend a lot of money to maintain their operation, and this means the GPU mining helps the coin spread much better. But in the long run, designated hardware always wins, and you want to be prepared to this. This is why we also chose a very, very ASIC-friendly algo, so that when ASICs do hit the market, they would be cheap, they would not require a lot of energy, and a lot of people could buy them. So this is the win-win in the rapid emission plus altered hash idea, which makes all this launch very, very fair, very well spread, and very geared at remaining decentralized and keeping mining decentralized. Another thing is that the development itself is very decentralized. We, and when I say we, I mean Michael, essentially, and Ori. And there is a lot of work to include many people and educate many people and to work with many people and involve as many people as possible in this project to create convention and to make this really a global thing that is not bottlenecked by the original contributors. And in this map, you can see the spread around the world of the people who contribute to the Rusty Kaspa client. You see that we might have started here, but we're everywhere. And that's all I wanted to talk about. Thank you.